place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Good evening and welcome to a Saturday night edition of Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. Hey guys, wanted to get your attention real quickly. If you downloaded last week's podcasts, you can stop sending me emails. Those have been fixed now. We're sorry for the inconvenience. There was a hiccup with the system. So we have fixed those. If you missed parts, any of the sound was missing from yours, just go back and re-download the show, the entire show in its entirety from last Saturday and Sunday, back up on our site. And for those of you that miss any shows, if you're interested, you can catch up by going to and click on the Darkness Radio podcast part, and you can see all the different podcasts there that we've done since August 24th. You can download them, listen to them on your computer, laptop, anywhere, and also you can subscribe to them so that way you never miss an episode from iTunes. I'm Dave Schrader, your host, sitting across the board from me, as he is every Saturday and Sunday night. Good evening, Mr. Tim Dennis.
Good evening, sir.
Boy, we had a busy couple of days, huh?
Yeah, we did.
Get back from the Stanley event. We did another Stanley event, had a great time out there. Did you have a good time? I know you weren't feeling well.
I had a great time, even though I lost my voice throughout the entire Stanley trip.
Yes, you sounded, one night you sounded like Tone Loc.
I did. I was like way down here, yeah. It was
you
cool.
Can't even hit it now.
I can't, no. I was earlier today when I woke up. I had this unusual, it was like a Gary Busey sound.
A Gary Busey sound?
So I was staggering around my apartment doing Gary Buseyisms.
Excellent. Well, we did the Stanley event. We're going to be talking with Billy Ward, the historian, the tour guide at the Stanley Hotel, is going to be with us in hour 2. He's going to tell us about a lot of the cool stories and history of the historic Stanley Hotel. We'll get some background on why the ghosts are there. We'll also talk about some of the cool events we had happen during the ghost hunts. And we had a lot of stuff, some wicked EVPs, some personal experiences, some great stuff we're going to be posting up on our site hopefully over the next couple of weeks as we get the evidence back, including video footage, Tim, that is very, very intriguing to see.
It's very compelling.
Yeah, it is. Very interesting stuff, so we're going to be showing that. Stay tuned for tonight's show. We've got, of course, Nicole Remini is going to be coming up in a few minutes with movie reviews. We've got a special interview this evening. I'll be here in about 10-15 minutes. We're going to be talking with 3 of the main stars of the new movie Twilight, which comes out next week. And they were great. Had a chance to meet with them this week. We sat down, did a quick little interview, and even got a couple of ghost stories out of them, Tim.
There you go.
Very cool. And then we're going to talk again to Billy Ward from the 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock hour. And then third hour, the 11 to midnight slot, Tim, we are jam-packed tonight.
Yes, we are.
Check this out. From the movie Donnie Darko and Independence Day. Do you remember Donnie Darko the Rabbit?
I do, yes.
Right? We have James Duval is going to be on with us and talking about some cool paranormal stories and his involvement in those movies as well. We're also talking to Chris Sarandon, actor Chris Sarandon, one of my favorite vampires. He was in the movie Fright Night. He was also Prince Humperdinck in the movie The Princess Bride.
Watch it. It's not 10 o'clock yet. You can't say that.
Humperdinck? I think I can. And then he was also Jack Skellington in The Nightmare Before Christmas. We have Doug Jones. We have an interview with Doug Jones, and Doug Jones was Abe Sapien in the movie Hellboy and Hellboy 2. He was also in Pan's Labyrinth. He's been in so many movies, dude. You just look at this guy's table with all the stuff he's got on there, all the different characters he played. He was Silver Surfer in the new Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, he was. Yep.
He's a lot of characters, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about angels and how his life was saved once by an angel. And finally, dude, I've been waiting 3 years. This was so exciting for me. I got to sit down with the Crypt Keeper today. John Kassir, the Crypt Keeper. He did the voice for the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. We do a little Q&A with the Crypt Keeper. We've got all that coming up in our third hour this evening, so stay tuned to the Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. Got a lot of fun stuff, and we're going to start off the way we do every Saturday night, Tim. It's movie review time, and
I Forgot to pull up the theme.
Nice. Gosh, we only do it every week.
I know. Hold on a second here. I'll get it. Dude.
Okay.
Just stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking some movies here tonight. We're going to be talking some personal experiences. We're going to be talking with Billy, the historian from the Stanley Hotel. In the first hour, though, of course, we've got the lovely Nicole Remini with movie reviews, and we've got Adrian Lee is going to be woken up in his bed somewhere in London, England, to wake up and share some weird news of the world. Tim, are we just going to forego this evening's theme? Oh, there we go. I knew you wouldn't let me hang
the obscure, viewer of the violent, and maker of the best peanut butter and jelly sandwiches we ever tasted. It's Movie Reviews, live from the dungeon with Nicole Remini.
Well, good evening, Nicole.
Is it wrong that I laugh?
No, not at all. You know, we missed you today at the horror convention. There's the big horror con, Crypticon, which is taking place at the Roseville Radisson. And it's, oh my goodness, we've lost her again, Tim. We're having issues with this line every time we bring her in. We're going to have to get her back online. Yeah, this is just the way of the world. Should I just give her phone number again over the air, Tim, so you've got it? Yeah, I will. We'll get Nicole back on the line with us. Oh, you know what? Why don't we do this, Tim? Do you already have it queued up? Why don't you go ahead and let's play the little interview we had with the kids from the Twilight movie, and we'll come back with more, and we'll talk to Nicole Remini and get our movie review for this evening as well. You just go ahead and signal me when it's time to put on that interview, Tim. We'll get it. There we go. Nicole's calling back into us. That's very nice of her. See, these are the fun technical aspects of the radio world you kids don't have to deal with just listening in on the on the radio. We've got Nicole back with us. Nicole, are you there? Hello, Nicole? Hello? We've got it sounds like she's making kissy noises to me over the phone, Tim. Yeah. Nicole Remini's phone seems to be messed up. We're having issues with that, talking to her on air, so we're going to try yet another line ringing into us this evening. I'm sorry, folks. This is, again, as I said, part of the fun of radio. You never know what's going to happen next. We're having issues with some of the phone lines. Adrian is still on hold. We'll be back with Adrian from London, England. He'll be telling us about the weird news of the world, and we'll see if we can get Nicole punched up. I'm left twisting in the wind in the interim. But, hey, tonight we're going to also be giving away tickets to see Twilight. There's a special sneak preview of Twilight that takes place this Tuesday at 7:30. We're going to give you a phone number a little bit later to call into. You can be one of the 10 people we give away tickets to tonight. Let's try again. Nicole, do we have you on the line?
There you are.
Wow, thank God. Sorry, but we're having trouble with your phones every time we call you nowadays. What's going on?
I don't know. It's so weird. I guess, you know what? I have such horrible movies that I watched today. I guess, you know.
Is that what it is?
You don't want me to tell you about it.
Okay, well, what are we reviewing this week?
Well, you know, I watched 2 movies, and since they both, just stunk, I just thought I'd share them both.
Okay, good.
How about that?
That sounds good to me.
And I hate to say it, but a listener asked me to watch these movies, and I did, because that's what you can do. You can write me off the website and ask me to watch movies, and I do. So I watched Return to House on Haunted Hill. Have you seen that?
This time more haunted and more hillier. No?
I guess so. I will say, you know, for the guys, lots of boobage. So, you know, maybe worth watching.
Captain Andy Candy Pants is happy in the other room listening to that. Okay.
You know, it was one of the effects were amazing and disgusting, and literally the premise basically is this girl commits suicide. The sister has to go and find out why she went back, and these mercenary treasure hunters are also in on it, so they all have to go back and look for this statue of something, I don't know, priceless demonic statue. Yes,
those demonic statues usually are priceless.
Usually, and I know I want one. And so they all go to this house, and I have to say the scenes are literally, my mouth was hanging open. Brains being cut out of people's, no, not even cut out. Heads being cut open, brains being twisted out of people's heads. I have a real issue with brains being touched. I don't know why. I think I could see people eating people all day, zombies, of course. And but
thanks for clarifying that.
Just want to make sure, you know, FCC. So, but the whole thing with people's brains being touched really bothers me. So that movie really kind of freaked me out in that effect. And like I said, the effects were pretty insane. But it just wasn't a good movie. So I didn't like it. And then I watched Dark Remains. Have you heard of that movie?
I have not.
Okay, don't waste your time. This was like watching bad porn acting. It was so horrible.
Wait a minute, isn't that redundant, bad porn acting?
I love bad porn acting.
Let me just go, it was like porn acting. It was terrible. I had 3 kids sitting here going, the acting is terrible in this movie. So, oh gosh, just like stupid, not even worth going into, but just, I mean, this couple, their kid gets murdered, and we still never find out who murdered their daughter because they're so busy chasing ghosts in an old prison, which the kind of cool thing about this movie, I will say, is at the end, they actually do kind of like ghost hunters at the actual prison that this movie was shot in, because I guess there is some ghost activity there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So
but overall, as a movie itself, you hated it.
Oh, my gosh, I hated it. Hated it. And the kids hated it. When kids hate a horror movie because the acting is bad, you know it's bad.
Yeah, that says quite a bit when they're bailing out on you.
So needless to say, I'm not going to even need to take an Advil PM tonight because I'm going to sleep just fine with all the lights off.
All the lights off. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Nicole. Sorry again for the issues with our phone. We'll have you back again next week with us in a new movie review. All right. We appreciate that. Take care.
What a great show. How exciting.
Yeah, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up, so you guys stay tuned. And, Nicole, we'll talk to you again next week. We want to thank you all for tuning in this evening with us as well. We're going to be back. You're listening to Darkness Radio. And welcome back to the Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. I'm Dave Schrader. Tonight we're sitting in Minneapolis, and I'm sitting here with the cast of the new movie Twilight coming out next week. Could you do a quick introduction for me? Tell me who you are and what character you're playing.
Eddie Gathegi, and I play Laurent.
Rochelle Lefebvre, and I play Victoria.
Hey, I'm Taylor Lautner, and I play Jacob Black.
Now, guys, when we mentioned to the listeners that we were going to have a quick chance interview with you, the one question everybody was worried about, when books come out and they're so beloved like this, are you worried about stepping into the roles of these characters and doing them justice?
I think that there's only so much that you can do as an actor. Once you've been cast, you have to trust that you were cast for a reason. And I think everyone on the movie collectively did their best to represent the book properly. And we had Stephanie Meyer on set as a consultant who, if things weren't going as she intended, she would definitely say something. So I think the fans should know that, it was in the best hands possible.
Now, were you guys fans of the book series before you got into the movie, or was this just kind of happenstance?
For me, I was a vampire fan. I was a real fan of the genre I read Bram Stoker's Dracula when I was 14, and I was that kid who was going out as Lucy for Halloween, and nobody knew who I was, and that sort of obscure vampire phenomenon for me. And then when I finally read Twilight, which was right before my audition, I totally became a fan and fell in love with the books. And I read New Moon and Eclipse before I'd even found out that I'd been cast. I just continued on reading and then hoping for the best, and then read Breaking Dawn as soon as it came out.
Let me ask you guys, this is what I loved about the book series. They kind of take a different turn on the whole vampire genre. There's no fangs, there's sparkles, there's, it's just a different feel to it. What else about the movie sets you guys apart from a totally different vampire-style movie?
I like Rochelle's answer to this question because I'm not a vampire, so I'm going to let you, vampire, answer this.
Stephanie really turned the whole genre on its head. She created a mythology where she got rid of all the garlic and the holy water, the religion and all that, and she created vampires who, although they don't sleep, and so they are clearly hiding at night as if they do sleep, but they are not in coffins. They're out interacting with the world, and they're interacting with human beings, and as a result, it allows for this amazing love story and all this incredible behavioral stuff in terms of what if vampires were out in the world and you were working with them or going to school with them and you didn't even know it, even when there was sunlight.
No, unfortunately, you were mentioning you're not the vampire in the group, but it always seems the lycanthropes get the short end of the stick in these movies. But how do you feel about this, Robin? Was it kind of cool to step in and know what's going to be coming along for your character as well?
Yeah, it's exciting. I've read the books, and I love where my character goes. I love the fact that he transforms into a werewolf, and he has these two complete opposite personalities, and that's challenging as an actor. So what I want to do for Twilight is show his human side, where he's really nice and outgoing and friendly and just loves people. I try not to think about it too much yet. I'm trying to stay as focused as I can on Twilight, but it's hard not to. But the good news is Twilight comes out in Jeez, is it like a week?
Something.
A week?
Yeah. Oh my God.
No longer 2 weeks, no longer a week and a half. It's 1 week.
Well, let me ask you too now. As I said, we do a paranormal radio show, so we talk about ghosts, UFOs, all the weird stuff. There always seems to be some strange things that happen on set. Did you guys, any of you, have experiences or hear of weird things that went on with any of the other cast members that might have taken place while filming?
I had one, and it doesn't have anything to do with Twilight, but my very, very first night in the hotel, I'm one of these people who I have regular dreams. I remember them. I have, the occasional nightmare like everybody else, but I'm not what I would call a vivid dreamer. And my first night in the hotel in Portland, I had a dream that there was like some sort of a spirit, a woman in my hotel room, and she came to try to basically possess me. I'm not even kidding. I told this story to Ashley and Nikki the first morning, and that she was clawing at my hands, trying to tell me that something horrible had happened to her, and that I needed to be able to like represent her somehow, or her voice needed to be heard. And I woke up clawing at my own hands, and I have never had anything like that happen to me. I don't know if it was because I was preparing to play an instinctually, I don't know, sort of evil character, or if I was channeling something, or I don't know what, but I've never had anything like that happen in my life.
All right, now you got every ghost hunter in the world salivating. Where was this hotel?
It was, what was the name of the hotel we stayed in? It was a Kimpton
Hotel
Suite.
Monaco.
Hotel Monaco. I can't remember my room number, but I was on the 9th floor, and something bad happened to a girl there sometime, somewhere, maybe before it was a hotel. I don't know, but she came to hang out with me that night.
Oh, we're real quiet right now. You can hear the sound of people Googling. Googling this hotel.
What'd you say?
I said now you can actually hear people Googling it as we're sitting here trying to figure out where this hotel and the ghost stories are.
Yeah, I rather like that hotel. Now I can't stay there again.
You're out. Have you ever had a paranormal experience at all in your life?
Yeah, in my life, yeah, sure. The first one that comes to mind was when I was about 12 years old. My friend's father had this condo with like an outdoor pool, and we were all hanging out at nighttime. I'm getting chills just thinking about this. I saw a ghost levitating on top of the water in the pool that we were swimming in. And, it was so real. It was real. I saw this. I freaked out, got the chills, the heebie-jeebies. I jumped out. I was like, did you see that? Oh, my God, let's get out of here. I never want to swim here ever again, and I never did.
Now, had there been any alcohol or recreational? Again, maybe you hopped up on a couple of Flintstones chewables and seeing one too many things, one too many yoo-hoos and pixie sticks.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, thanks a lot for spending time with us here tonight. Good luck with the movie. We're going to all be watching for it next week. And stay tuned, guys. We're going to be giving away tickets to Twilight for the special sneak peek. So give us a call, 651-989-5855. Thanks again, guys, and much success.
Thank you very much.
Yo, Adrian!
Now, with all the weird news from around the world, it's time for the Supernatural Stories of the Strange, International Edition. Live from London, International News Correspondent Adrian Lee.
Good evening, Mr. Lee. How are things in beautiful, sunny London, England?
Fantastic. Hi, Dave. Hello, America.
I guess it's got to be warmer there than it is here, huh?
It's not too bad at the moment, actually. We've had quite a couple of warm days in a row. Do you know it's probably still a hanging offence to butcher the national anthem in this country?
Oh.
I'm sure that's treason, you know.
Well, good thing we don't live in your country. We're safe here under the guise of American. So what's going on, Adrian? Where are we off to this week?
Okay, we jump with leather pants and sausage in hand to Germany for the bizarre and strange to start with. A shoplifter with no arms has walked straight out of a Munich electrical shop with a 24-inch television, having been assisted to clamp the set to his chest by two other people. It wasn't until later that the missing set was noticed and the security tape reviewed. So I'm guessing this is the opposite of an armed robbery. Staff only knew about this theft after they saw one of the display TVs had been taken off its stand. It's hard to believe that the sight of an armless man walking along with a giant TV clamped to his body did not get anyone's attention, said the police. Staff can't understand why he never came back for the remote controls, but I've got a pretty good idea, to be honest. Do you think he might have stolen this as like a festive gift? Is that I'm sure he's not going to be bought gloves for Christmas in return or anything.
You are a cold man, Adrian.
Well, how do you lose both arms anyway? That's very careless. It's
very careless. Yeah, you can understand losing one, but
Yeah.
Oh,
Was
that's
he juggling with chainsaws, or did he have a really good idea to cut his nails with a scythe?
Unbelievable. So what did he do? Did he just grab it between his knees and shuffle out of the door?
I'm led to believe he had a harness on, and he had two people in the shop actually assisted him to clamp the TV set onto the harness, and he just walked out of the shop. But I mean, the police aren't going to be looking for fingerprints, are they, or anything like that?
Jeez. All right, where are we off to next, sir?
That's just a gift. The Germans provide me with such good material. I can only thank them.
So it seems, yeah.
Okay, seamlessly and without gaps, we move from a no-armed German bandit to exploding chickens, which is a natural segue if I ever saw one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, hens are dropping dead on a free-range farm because hot air balloons and low-flying aircraft are causing their eggs to explode inside them, it has been claimed. Abby Vincent Lloyd said she lost 30 hens on a day when balloons were flying over her farm in Herefordshire. She claimed the stress of seeing the enormous balloons overhead caused them to run for cover. It is as if they desperately try to find shelter and they bump into one another and their surroundings, exploding the eggs inside them. I mean, exploding chickens due to aircraft sounds like a terrorist dream come true. There's hordes of hijackers as we speak with loaded chicken vests queuing up at Heathrow Airport, trying to disguise the sound of clucking underneath huge winter coats. I mean, she said this in turn causes an infection which is thought to lead to them to die. She said post-mortems of the animals revealed the chickens had actually died from a peritonitis, which develops from the egg being released inside them. She said, I lost about 15 birds, and then I decided the vet should do a post-mortem on one or two of them. And she was told that the hot air balloons and the low-flying jets over a farm had actually caused this to take place. I mean, this is like a scene from Monty Python. You can imagine, like, medieval siege where they're lobbying incendiary chickens over castle walls. It's like the Muppets meet Saving Private Ryan or something. Moving naturally...
Well, you know what? We got to take a quick break, Adrian. We'll come back and we'll get more into the weird news of the world. Everybody stay tuned. You're listening to Darkness Radio with our international news correspondent, Adrian Lee. Good evening. Welcome back to Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Stay tuned at the 10 o'clock hour. We're going to be joined by Billy Ward, the historian and tour guide for the historic haunted Stanley Hotel. We're going to learn a little bit about its shady past, Tim. We're going to also learn about some of the ghosts that have been there, some of the celebrity sightings of spirits that have happened there. Ooh. It's going to be a great time. And we're going to also talk to you a little bit about the stuff we've got going on. Then at the 11 o'clock hour, we've got a whole slew of cool guests that are going to be joining us. James Duvall from Donnie Darko, Chris Sarandon from Princess Bride and Fright Night and Nightmare Before Christmas. He played the voice of Jack Skellington. We also have Doug Jones, the actor from Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, and Fantastic Four Silver Surfer is going to be with us, and John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, going back to London, England, here's international correspondent Adrian Lee. Where are we off to next, Adrian?
Okay, moving on to our favourite place, which is the graveyard. We continue with the running theme of burial incidents that have come up in the last few weeks. In Sao Paulo in Brazil on Tuesday, police say a woman died on the way to a cemetery when a traffic accident held her husband's coffin against the back of her neck. Police said 67-year-old Marciana Silvia Barcelos was in the front passenger seat of the hearse when the accident occurred in the southern state of Rio Grande do Sul. Barcelos died instantly. Her 76-year-old husband died on Sunday of a heart attack whilst dancing at a party. And I'm guessing that wasn't to the 70s disco classic Staying Alive. The driver of the hearse and Barcelos' son both suffered minor injuries, but a very unfortunate incident for the woman. I assume that the coffin came forward when the hearse crashed, and she was sat at the front, unfortunately.
Yeah, what is up with these crazy, insane deaths by funeral?
They're a dangerous place to be, aren't they?
Obviously. See, yet another reason to avoid funerals, folks.
Always good advice on this show. And avoid exploding chickens and no-armed Germans.
Exactly. Well, you wouldn't want to be a no-armed German with an exploding chicken because you'd have no way to throw it.
Do you know what? That German no-arm, I wrote so many jokes for that. I had to leave so many out. I've got a whole list here. I mean, was his name Hans? Oh. I mean, did the police try and put handcuffs on him? Was he told to put his hands in the air? I mean, there's just. Yeah. I mean, it was a
you see, usually jokes are funny, though. Oh, where are we off to next, Adrian?
Ouch. Okay, moving from the dead to the undead. A zombie world record was broken in Nottinghamshire in England this week. Thousands of zombies covered in fake blood and face paint took to the streets for the Halloween event, which I believe was a charity event they held. The record was broken when 1,227 people dressed as zombies and gathered in the Old Market Square. They then performed a choreographed zombie dance to Michael Jackson's Thriller. Although the dance began at 5 p.m., it took officials from the Guinness World Records half an hour to verify the numbers. The previous record set was in the US when 1,124 people attended Monroeville Mall, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm sure you're going to try your best to try and get that one back, but we've got that one now, that record.
Nice. I think that was the site that they filmed Dawn of the Dead.
I think you're absolutely right there.
Right, absolutely. And they tried to redo that. Wow, God, you English, you're always trying to steal our thunder.
The festival director said they were staggered by the number of zombies that turned up to help them beat the previous record. Everyone got into the spirit of the afternoon, and the Thriller dance was incredible. As any self-respecting zombie knows, it's very important that they come together and dance the Michael Jackson Thriller dance, because that's what zombies do when they congregate, he added. I mean, it's unclear whether he'd been actually drinking or not there. It's a very common complaint, I'm sure, when people say, sorry, I'm late home, dear. I couldn't move for zombies dancing tonight. Margaret Robinson, who helped arrange the event, said it's been fantastic. We've had a huge turnout, far better than we expected. You can't move for dancing zombies. We're all zombies tonight, and we're all undead. She said, I'm covered in blood, and I'm very happy. In March, the city also set the record, by the way, for the most Robin Hoods, which was 1,119, and those people all turned up in costume, which probably goes some way statistically to proving that Nottingham has one of the highest student populations, I would suggest.
Yeah, that could have something to do with it, huh?
Right, staying in the Midlands and with all things paranormal, it seems Robbie Williams can't get enough of spooky things. The singer actually joined a group of teenagers on a ghost hunt this week, and the guy they caught would have got away with it if it hadn't been for those meddling kids, of course. The 34-year-old pop recluse, who's known for his fascination with aliens, chatted up 15 kids on a youth project in which he and the ghost hunters then looked for eerie lights and slamming doors. Robbie, a paranormal fan, was visiting the famous 18th century hotel near his hometown of Stoke-on-Trent in Staffordshire with his girlfriend and his mum. The singer had early battled booze and drugs, of course, now lives in Los Angeles. But Robbie was over here visiting his family, and he actually insisted on paying the pub bill at the end of the investigation as well, which amounted to $400, apparently. Nice. Robbie has claimed that aliens have been in touch with him, of course, and we've had these stories before.
Right.
And he also has some Egyptian tattoos on his back, which represent some strange Egyptian gods and some aliens as well.
Interesting. This guy's, you'd think he's a head case, but after I've seen what I've seen out at the Gilliland Ranch, once it does almost become like a drug. Once you see this stuff, it just really has a deep impact on you.
I think this is what happens when you've got a lot of time in your hands and an absolute shed load of money as well, I suspect.
That's exactly right. Where are we off to next?
Well, we're going to stay with all things Egyptian and blinking into the light and covered in bandages. Egypt's chief archaeologist has announced the discovery of a 4,300-year-old pyramid in Saqqara, the sprawling necropolis and burial site of the rulers of ancient Memphis. That's Memphis in Egypt, by the way.
Oh, not Tennessee?
Yeah, I know. Okay. There's not too many Egyptian burial sites in Tennessee, I don't suspect. Zahi Hawass said the pyramids may have belonged to Queen Sesheti, the mother of King Teti, who was the founder of the 6th dynasty of Egypt's oldest kingdom. Archaeologists working on the site, 12 miles south of Cairo, will only know for sure once they enter the burial chamber and find inscriptions. 2 of the pharaoh's wives are actually buried nearby. Reference to the Queen has been found in ancient papyrus texts, and in one of them, the Queen actually makes a request to doctors to find her a cure for her hair loss. So if they find that, I will be sure to pass that on to you two guys.
Please do.
Wow.
I've got one word to say to you if you think that's harsh, and that's abominable.
Very nice, sir. You've been working on it.
I've been practicing.
But what the heck is a dynasty?
Quivering in hand, ready to go with that. It's common to find a tomb or a statue, but to find a pyramid, that is rare, Hawass says. There are probably more discoveries to be made around this site, and the base was discovered 20 metres below the sand. The new pyramid is the 118th to be discovered so far in Egypt. So hopefully they're going to be preparing this week to go into the burial chamber itself, and we shall see what things they find from that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay. Sticking with the topic of new discoveries, a rare dragon-like reptile with a lineage dating back to the dinosaur age has been found nesting in New Zealand on the mainland for the first time in 200 years, officials said. 4 leathery white eggs from the indigenous tuatara, which is the lizard in question, had been feared extinct, and they were discovered this week by staff at the Wildlife Sanctuary in Wellington. Conservation manager Hr.1 said that the nest was discovered by accident, and this is the first concrete proof that they have a tuatara actually breeding. It suggests that there may be other nests in the sanctuary that they don't actually know about. This dragon-like reptile can grow up to 32 inches, and they are actually descendants of a species that walked the earth with the dinosaurs 225 million years ago, zoologists say. They have unique characteristics, such as 2 rows of top teeth closing one over the top of the other, and they also have a pronounced third eye on the top of their skull. This white patch of light-sensitive skin, called the parotale eye, also disappears as they mature. A native species to New Zealand, the tuatara were nearly extinct on the country's 3 main islands by the late 1700s due to the introduction of predators such as rats, which obviously then went around and ate all the eggs out of the nest. The sanctuary, which is a 620-acre site, which is just minutes from downtown Wellington, was established to breed native birds, insects and other creatures securely behind a predator-proof fence. So that's kind of like a Jurassic Park thing there, that they fenced all this area off to stop creatures getting in and destroying the eggs and destroying all the wildlife there. But, yeah, we've spoken on numerous times over the last couple of weeks about new species being discovered. And in Wellington there, they've just discovered a new lizard that they didn't realise that was there and had been extinct for 200 years.
It's interesting. We came back from the Stanley event. We had cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman with us, and he was doing a talk about all of the different cryptids and strange animals and just how many things are being rediscovered after being thought extinct for, not even just hundreds of years, but millions of years. They're finding different species that have popped back up, and now they're finding even species that they've never had any knowledge of before. So it does, again, slap in the face with the thought of people poo-pooing the idea of Bigfoot. If we're still finding stuff out there that we thought was gone long ago, it's an interesting thought that maybe we really just are unable to keep up with these, and they're stealthy animals that are able to figure out how to work like a unit. And we had an expert who was on, I think, about 2 years ago, and he talked about the fact that Bigfoot use stationary sentries who will watch, and when they see people approaching, they make noises, and then the whole team falls back like an army unit. And that's why we can never find them. There's always sentries at different posts, and it keeps people from being able to locate them.
There was, very interestingly enough, there was actually another creature discovered in North America on Monday, actually, in Vancouver, in Canada. A TV documentary crew had added to the mystery surrounding it. There's a lake monster called an ogopogo. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Right.
But he said they've been looking for this particular species in the depths of Okanagan Lake, and apparently they found something at the bottom of the lake. He said it was all curled up, and its features were really hard to see, but you could see a little head tucked in, and straight away you could see a tail, but there was no actual fins to it. And they said it's a huge mystery. We have no idea what this is, says Bill Stechuk, who helped organise the shooting of the location. The unidentified specimen has been shipped to the University of Ontario for actual DNA tests. But the Ogopogo was first sighted in the 1870s and is reputed to be 12 metres long, with multiple humps and a small head. And the History Channel, which has had a bigger budget than on previous expeditions, has mounted a thermal infrared imaging camera on a helicopter for the first time, and it's actually picked up unidentified shadows on the lake as well, while sonar spotted something over 3 metres long moving along the water, which is obviously pretty big for a fish. But divers made this most interesting find in an underwater cave on the west side of a place called Rattlesnake Island. And they said when they discovered this particular species, they couldn't recognise it, and nor can anyone else, but they're actually going off to do some research on that to find out what it actually is. So that's gone off to the university there in Ontario to actually be looked at. But I'd actually heard of this creature before. Is that something you've come across?
Yes, Ogopogo I've heard quite a bit about. We have to take another break. Adrian, we'll come back with more of your news. You guys stay tuned. You're listening to the best in paranormal talk radio right here with our international news correspondent, Adrian Lee. We'll be back with more. No, it's not. It's 9:50 p.m. What kind of song is this, Tim? You're going to lead in with a lie right off the bat?
Well,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go back into the Twilight Zone with international news correspondent Adrian Lee. Adrian, where are we off to next, sir?
Well, just quickly went on the internet in the break there because I hadn't actually heard of the Ogopogo much before, so I just wanted to read a couple of sentences there just to give our listeners a bit more information, if that's okay.
Please.
It says here on my laptop, the glowing in the dark I might add as I'm sat here in bed, it said the first documented sightings of the Ogopogo by European settlers date back as far as 1872, and this occurred as the area was being colonised. Though the first clear sighting witnessed by a large group of people occurred in 1926 at the Okanagan Mission Beach, and there were about 30 cars of people who claimed to have witnessed the same event. So it's always intriguing, isn't it, when sort of a whole number of people witness the same thing as opposed to just a single person, of course. The film of the alleged creature, there has been a film of this alleged creature, and it was filmed in 1968 by Art Folden, which shows a dark object propelling itself through shallow water near the shore. And this film was shot from a hill above the shore, and once the film was enhanced, it showed a solid reptilian 3D object. And again, it was filmed in 1989 by a used car salesman called Ken Chaplin. And Ken Chaplin, that's my English teacher when I was at school.
Now you know what he's been up to.
Very bizarre. Ken was his father. Ken was with his father, Clem Chaplin, whilst he actually saw this. And they said they saw a snake-like animal swimming in the lake. And it actually flicked its tail to actually create a splashing effect. And they reckon it was over 15 feet long. So reading that off the internet there, that's something I've learned tonight as we speak.
You know, what's interesting, though, so many people have witnessed these things moving through the water. They see the humps rolling. And it turns out that now that we've got the high-def cams, we're able to actually see this. It's the roll of the waves and the way the waves pull in and roll through each other that creates the hump-like appearance in the water. So that's actually helped to debunk it now. We're able to make it a lot more clearly.
These are such large bodies of water as well, and they're in very remote, windy places.
Right.
So they do have their own tides. Loch Ness, I believe, has its own tide, even though it's not a big one. There is the flow of water there, which is quite something.
Well, why don't we got to head off to the next one? Where are we off to next?
Yes, so we're going to hold our breath and we're going to stay underwater because we're coming back to Britain.
Okay.
A Doncaster student has actually taken a picture of an aquarium which has baffled bosses at a tourist attraction with a mysterious image of a ghostly face. Emma Place from Norton took this picture on her mobile phone whilst visiting the deep in Hull with her dad Alan, who's 48. It was taken inside a tunnel which overlooks some of the deep's tanks, which appears to depict a human head. So I don't know if you have a similar sort of thing in America, but you have an aquarium, and you go through like a tube, and then all the fish and all the water's above you, and you kind of look
Actually,
at that.
we have that here at the Mall of America. It's called Underwater World, and you can go underneath it and watch all the fish swim above you.
Yes, I remember walking past that now. You've jogged my memory when I was there back in the summer. The 21-year-old who took the picture actually contacted bosses at this popular tourist attraction after her boyfriend, Craig Richardson, actually noticed there was a face in amongst all of the fish there on the rocks.
Oh, no.
He said, I was quite freaked out by the expression on his face. I've been there before and I've not seen it before, so I emailed it to the Deep asking what it was. And the bosses there launched an investigation to work out what this image was. And the security tape actually confirmed that no one else was actually inside the tunnel at the time the picture was taken. Emma's a second-year dental technology student at Manchester University, and she said, I don't normally believe in things like this, but it's quite spooky. Colin Brown, the chief executive of the Deep, said, we are a scientific centre, and we're sure there must be a logical explanation. It's just that we can't find one at the moment. There must be some sort of optical illusion or reflection of the image between the windows, but we can't figure out what it is. And I will actually send you this link because the photograph is worth looking at, but you've got a scene of the aquarium and fish, and in the bottom right-hand corner, in amongst the coral and the rocks, there's actually a face looking up towards the surface of the water. And I'm aware of things like matrixing, obviously, and there's things like coral and rocks there, but it genuinely actually looks like a ghostly face, you know, with eyes, nose, lips, and hair actually looking up into the fish there, which is a very odd-looking thing. So I will send you that, and if anyone out there's listening and wants to see that, they can go onto the website, of course, and access that.
Right, we'll put that up and have it up by tomorrow. Wow, that's it. Now, looking at it yourself, I mean, do you see it pretty clearly, or does it look like a form of matrixing to you?
I'm used to seeing matrixing and trying to see faces in things, but I mean, it's not just like a couple of eyes and a mouth, like a sausage and a couple of eggs, and you'd matrix that and think that's a face.
Right.
Or the front of a car, like a radiator grille, looking like a face. It genuinely looks like there's an entity sort of gazing up at the surface of the water, and it's all in blue, of course. You know, you can see the nose quite clearly. You can see the eyes and the mouth. And if it is just coral, then it looks pretty fantastic. It does look like a face.
Interesting.
You know, as much as I sit here and I want to, you know, look into it and think it's just the rock formation and just the shape of the bits in the water there, it does actually look like a face looking up. So it's definitely worth a look. I'm sure if people want to see that before it goes onto the website, they can Google that. And if they type in the deep and hull, which is where the attraction is, and type in ghostly picture or spooky picture or photo, something like that, they'll obviously be able to access that, I'm sure, at this moment in time, if they're listening online, of course.
Great. Well, we've got about a minute left. Do you have another quick story for us here before we wrap up?
There's been some UFO activity in South America, actually, this week, and I just want to read a few reports there.
Okay.
It says, according to a report from researchers, Alfonso Salazar saw an identified flying object this week over runway 5 of Mexico City International Airport, very close to El Peñón Hill. It was a disc-shaped, very shiny, and it reflected the sun's light, he said. The unknown object was flying over the runway just as a Fokker 100 aeroplane belonging to Mexico's Clique Airlines was taking off, according to witnesses. Estimates placed the UFO at an altitude of about 500 feet, highlighting the fact that it moved up and down with irregular movements. It says a few minutes later it headed down the southern area of the airport in question. The weather was sunny with a few clouds, and witnesses include a number of aircraft mechanics that actually all saw the alien aircraft as well from the hangars where they were working on aircraft. Jose said he took his camera out, but there was no chance to record it. It was gone, you know, as soon as he had organised himself there, so they never got a chance to take a picture. But there's also been some UFO activity in Argentina this week as well. A man reported seeing a UFO in La Raja in Argentina, and he said it actually left the side of his face paralysed. So as the UFO went over, he actually had some paralysis in the left-hand side of his face there, and he actually had to go to hospital. So it said it affected his nervous system and actually affected his bodily functions as it went over.
Impressive stuff. Well, thanks again, Adrian, and we'll have all new stories next week.
It's a pleasure as always, sir. Stay away from chickens and Germans with no arms.
No doubt. Thank you. And hey, you guys, stay tuned. We're going to be back with Billy Ward from the Stanley Hotel. We're going to learn some of the crazy history of the Stanley Hotel and find out maybe why it's so haunted. We got Billy Ward, and then a great guest list of movie stars will be with us in Hour 3. You're listening to the best in Paranormal Talk Radio.